Good morning. Welcome, everyone. We're here to celebrate Baba's Meheru this morning. We have a bio from Karen Talbot and a little video, and then stories that anyone would like to share about their time with Meheru. These precious times that we get to share, even though we do it once a year for a lot of these wonderful mandali, it just creates an atmosphere I think that Baba would more than love to hear, to see us in. So anyway, I'll shut up and say, Karen, good morning to Baba.
Just chime in whenever you like. It's a pleasure to see you and hear your voice. All right. Well, I felt very fortunate to have known Meheru, and I'm going to read a brief biography of her. She was born into a fantastically wonderful Baba family. There's no question about that. She was born on October 2nd, 1927, in British India. Her parents were Rustom, Kaikhushru, Irani. Rustom was Adi K. Irani's brother, Sarosh's cousin, and his mother was Gomai, Meherabad's spiritual mother. His father, Kaikhushru, and Kaikhushru was essentially owned Meherabad. That was just on her father's side. Her mother, Freiny, was Mehera's sister. So her grandmother was Gomai, who was Meherabad's spiritual. Oh, her grandmother on that side was Daulat Mai, and her grandfather on that side was Jehanjir. Daulat Mai, Mehera and Freiny's mother, spent a good portion of her life in silence by Baba's directive. So essentially, she was Meheru's niece. She had a number of siblings. They were Merwan, who was called Mehloo, Falu, Naggu, Beheram, and Jangoo. Meher Baba visited her family while she was in her mother's womb. That's how far back they go. Meheru's parents were engaged by Meher Baba's instruction at Manzili Neem. Their wedding was held in Ahmednagar in 1923. Meheru's birth name was actually Mehera. Her mother named her for her sister Mehera, but Baba gave her the name Meheru to distinguish her from Mehera. In the early 1930s, her family lived in the same compound as Meher Baba's women's ashram, which was located in Nasik, India, near the Godavari River. Meher Baba would often spend nights at their home. As a small child, she was constantly in and around Meher Baba and his women disciples. As soon as Meher Baba arrived, the children rushed to embrace him and wanted to be the first. At that time, the children could bow down to his feet, and Baba played with them. One time, she was hit on the nose by one of her siblings and lost blood. Meher Baba always had sympathy, love, and concern for her. Another time, she had a quarrel with her brother. She was sulking and wouldn't eat. Baba fed her every morsel. At times, Baba would have 1-hour meditations in Nasik. Her mother had to keep the children quiet for 1 hour, which was no easy feat. She fed them sugar cane and had them making flowers. As a child, Meheru was athletic, which is something that she continued essentially throughout her days. They would stay at Kushru quarters when they were in Ahmednagar, which is now the trust compound. Many relatives joined them there. As a child, she would go swimming at Pimplegown Lake, and they would also take trips to Happy Valley. In 1936 in Nasik, many Westerners arrived, including Norina Machabeli, Nani and Rano Gailey, Jean Adriel, Kitty, and Rano Bugaslav. Meheru and her family enjoyed the Westerners immensely. One year they actually stayed at Lower Meherabad by Baba's orders. They were not to cross the railway line, so they never saw Upper Meherabad. That was when they saw Mehera for the very first time. They knew Mani because Mani would visit at Nasik and they could see her. It was also her first time seeing Mohammed the Must. She found him strange and intriguing. In 1937, Meher Baba's birthday was celebrated in Nasik. Grain bundles were made to be distributed to the poor. She remembered a trained monkey who embraced Baba at that time. In 1938, Meher Baba's birthday was celebrated for the first time on a very grand scale. Meheru's mother was called 1 week before to help with the arrangement. Meheru was determined to join them. She ran after the car as her mother left. When her mother got there, Baba then said, "Why didn't you bring Meheru and Katie?" Meheru had a very pretty dress made, especially sewn for Baba's birthday, and she proudly showed the dress off to Meher Baba. After 1938, Mehera and her sister were called from boarding school to spend all their school holidays with him. She joined the Blue Bus tours when she was on vacation from school. And in 1942, as a young teen, she joined the women's ashram. During one of their travels, she came very close to drowning in the Himalayas at Rishikesh, and Baba pulled her out of the raging waters. In 1949, Meher Baba decided to take 4 of his women companions to accompany him on the new life. She was one of the 4. Mehera, Mani, Dr. Goher, and Meheru accompanied him. They had many adventures, many adventures. They would try to rest when they would reach a new town, a new city, but they were such a fascinating vision that the townspeople would come. Since they had to obey the rules of being cheerful on the new life, they never really had a chance to rest. There were times when it was so hot that they would wash their clothes and the clothes would dry about as soon as they had finished washing them. And one of her roles throughout her time in the ashram was washing for and caring for Meher Baba's clothing. In 1952, she and the other 3 women who had been on the new life, Mehera, Mani, Dr. Goher, and Meheru, accompanied Meher Baba to his first visit to the Meher Spiritual Center in the West. It was an inaugural visit for the Meher Center at that time. The women stayed in the guest house that Elizabeth and Arena had so kindly and paying attention to detail had created for the women. And when we go to the guest house, we see the grinding stone that the women left behind. On May 24th, 1952, Meheru, who had been one of the women traveling across the country to California with Meher Baba, the trip was ended when there was a serious car accident in Prague, Oklahoma. Right after the accident, Meheru was the one who placed Baba's head gently on her lap as he lay on the side of the road while they waited for the ambulance to come. In later years with Meher Baba, Meheru continued to live at Meherazad with summer stays at Guru Prasad in Pune. She served Meher Baba and Mehera both, helping Mehera with Baba's personal work. She worked in the garden, cared for their many pets, helped with correspondence, sewing, and household matters. After Meher Baba passed away in 1969, she continued to serve Mehera. She would be on the Meherazad veranda to share stories of her life with Meher Baba. In 1993, Meheru visited the West. She was a special guest at the Los Angeles Sahavas, and that year Bob Brown and Jane and others were guests at that Sahavas. I remember at that time Bob was very nervous about being able to continue his concert because of his health issues. Meheru calmed him down by saying, "Sing one song, Bob, and if that works, sing the next." And true to her words, Bob had a wonderful concert that we all not only enjoyed, but remember. After Meher Baba passed, Meheru was made head of the Trust's archives activities. She organized the archives and the archive building at Meherazad, where they are to this day. Meheru was the last remaining women Mandali member. She passed away on April 21st, 2012, after a very short illness. She was interred at Upper Meherabad. Her tomb shrine is to the right of Mani's tomb shrine, which is to the right of Meher Baba's Samadhi. And I'd like to read what Shariar Books said about Meheru. As good at flower arranging as she is with hammer and nails, tender-hearted, quick-witted, and adventurous, Meheru is a surprise and delight for visitors to the women's side of Meherazad. She and her moving stories of Baba's love for Mehera and Mehera's love for Baba are unforgettable, providing a rare glimpse into the secluded world of his closest women disciples. She wrote one book, Nursery Rhymes in Meher's Time, and co-authored Tales of the New Life with Erich Mehera Mani. And she is also on several, or at least one DVD and Mandali Hall talks. So fortunate we all were to know her and to remember her with our love in his love. Jai Baba, thank you for the opportunity.
Karen, thank you. You always do such a beautiful job. You just take us there.
My pleasure. Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just put this video on because it brings Meheru's image to us and kind of, well, maybe some of her essence. So I'll do this next. Jai Baba.
I was as a languishing stream, without a babble, without a dream, till I felt life within me surge and fill me with an urge to know my soul, to reach the goal, and to give my all to the ocean whole. You changed my world the day you came into my life. Oh, keep me in the circle, in the close circle. Keep me in the circle of your love. I had wandered in a desolate land where hope would not grow, till the day you took my hand and you let me know of a love so tender, a love so true. Oh, Meherabad, that love is you. You changed my world the day you came into my life. Oh, keep me in the circle, in the close circle. Keep me in the circle of your love. When I entered your realm, what peace I found. I knelt down and kissed the ground, where still are fresh the imprints of your feet. And I quenched my thirst with such water sweet, graced by your smile. Meher, how beautiful is this garden, where the earth and the air with your fragrance is laden. You changed my world the day you came into my life. Oh, keep me in the circle, in the close circle. Keep me in the circle of your love. You changed my world the day you came into my life. Oh, keep me in the circle, in the close circle. Keep me in the circle of your love.
Jai Baba. Oh, sure was wonderful just to see the images of her life with Baba and with the women and how close she was to Mehera. So anyway, I just wonder if anyone has any special memories. I have a few, but I'd like to just open it up to everybody else. Yes, yes, Karen. Is that your hand? Yeah. You need to, yeah.
I have a few stories to share. One word she used about working in the garden was to putter. And I always remember that as I worked with my plants. I have a wonderful memory that occurred during one December that I was at Meherabad and Meherazad, and I would go as a day visitor to Meherazad. And one day for lunch, Sally Pearson had brought with her all the way from the US all the things we needed to have a Passover Seder. So we had gefilte fish, we made matzo ball soup, all kinds of things that you would have for Passover. And the fascinating thing was that we were all Jewish. Devana, Shelley, myself, Casey would have been in California. And the person who told the whole story of Passover correctly was Meheru. She knew it and shared it with us. When she came to the US in 1993, we had the privilege and honor of having her for dinner one evening. I made some kind of a chicken dish, and I don't remember much more about that, except that I've kept the casserole dish. It's chipped, but I don't use it anymore. I just keep it as a memory, as a remembrance. And that's what I have to share. And I'm very grateful to have known Meheru and have been on the porch and heard her amazingly beautiful stories about being with him and Mehera and the male and women Mandali. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Yeah, thank you, Karen. How wonderful to get to cook for her.
I hope it was good. Who knows?
I'm sure it was. Anybody else? Yasmin, did you have something? No, you just. Is this the Shy People's concert today? Oh, there's Michal. Yes, darling.
Actually, I was waiting for you to share your stories. So, wow, first of all, thank you for the bio. Thank you for the beautiful, beautiful, amazing, amazing video. Wow, that was so effective, you know, so touching. And I like the idea that she was the one who told the Seder story and that you had a Pesach over in Meherabad. That's just amazing and beautiful. I can imagine it. And I really, you know, on Passover, I really don't want to go out. I want to do this Passover with Baba. And so at least if I have to go out, because if the family is here, they usually disperse, go out to the country and something. So then I have the quiet to have it with Baba. But if not, then I usually have the first Seder with Baba, and then I go out. And also the New Year, the Hebrew New Year and the Christian New Year. So Meru. So I was thinking today, you know, just coming to this Zoom is like going to meet her. It's like going to meet her. It's like honoring her presence because they are present, you know. they're not a figment of a story once that was once gone. And so remembering Meru, that she really didn't like to preside on the terrace. She was shy. She didn't like to do that. She didn't like to be the focal point, and neither did Goher. So at that time, when she was alone there, then Katie used to help her by being there because she was much more just natural with this. And Meryl was always sitting on the side and just getting herself pulled into the wall, like faded into the wall. Though she had a very strong nature, not that she didn't have a strong nature, but she just didn't like to do this. And That she had a good humor. I remember her good humor, and it was a very beautiful humor. Like she used to see things in a funny way, and not make fun of anyone, but you could see her glint in the eyes when something funny happened. And so one day I was sitting on a chair, and I felt called to go into Mara's room. So I went into Mara's room and I left my bag on the chair so I can come back and sit there. So one lady mischievously took the bag away and sat in that place. And when I came out, I opened my eyes like this, and Meru looked at me to see what I will do. And I said, well, uh, as long as I have place at Baba's feet, that is what I care for. So she said, yeah, sit right here on the little, she was always sitting by the door, and there was a little stool next to her. So I sat there. And so that is one of the times that she was watching what I will do if I will come back and find the seat was taken. And I remember the time that she was with Katie also, and there weren't many women on the porch. And so I think it was Katie who was asking Murdoch. Murdoch was there and asking Murdoch to sing. And Murdoch said, I can't sing. I'm not a singer. So I said very, very quietly that I am willing to sing if they want. So the story of the song goes like this. The previous time, Katie said, next time that you come, sing a song with me. Oh, I was telling Katie, you have a very beautiful CD, and I'm enjoying it very much. So she said, okay, so next time you come, let's sing a song from the CD. So I took it seriously, and I looked into the CD, and I don't know any languages. I'm very hard at remembering by heart things. So it took me time. I chose a very small song, something that I thought that I could manage, and I learned it. And Baba said, not that one. After I learned it by heart. And melody and the words, so that I don't understand. So I said, okay, Baba, which one do you want? So I went through the CD and he said, this one. So this was the one that when Murdoch said, I can't sing, and there weren't many women on the porch, then I said, okay, I can sing if you want to. And I went and sang this one. And I didn't know what the song was about or why was it chosen by Baba. So it goes like this. And I'm sitting next to Meheru at this time. So I'm singing this to bring back that moment that was on the terrace, which is very special, with Meheru and Katie. Samane ako kevoja wanuma ocha yega kya kehu dia kudiku kal tu kya ocha yega wasile kaho gavande sekuda ocha eka ganume haka kevoka gai mujhe pabe kiba mai terra un grade Tu Mehera Yeka my terra ocha ungacha tu Mehera ocha Yeka. Well, now that I'm singing it, I'm feeling the same excitement that I felt and the butterflies in my stomach like I did at that time. And then they were very surprised that I was singing this one. And I asked, do you know what this song says? And I didn't even know it was Baba's song. So it's a Huma song. Baba wrote it as Huma, and that is one of the memories that I have. And Meheru said, this is a song that our mothers used to sing to us. This is a song our mothers used to sing to us. So there's more of the story, but we are with Meheru, and this is where I want to stay today. And there was another beautiful thing with Meheru that I had when I first came to Meherabad in 1988. And I didn't know anything of anything, only of Baba, and I don't know if I knew much more than that. And so when I came to Meherazad one day, Meheru asked me, did you go into Baba's room? And I said, no, I didn't know that there was a Baba's room. And I said, can you show me Baba's room? And someone jumped in and said, okay, I'll show you. And Meheru said, no, I'll take her. And so she took me into Baba's room and she showed me all the things there and explained to me some. So that was very, very special. And I always felt that she had good vibes about me. And I felt always good with her, that she was believing in me and as a lover, as a true lover of Baba. And today, by this bio and by this video, I was thinking it is so very special that she was in everything that was very major in Baba's life from childhood in the Nasik ashram of the Western and Eastern women, and all the things that she went through, and new life, and being in Myrtle Beach, and being Mera's supporter throughout her life. And that is so special and so precious. Very, very. And Ruthie, I saw you in the video together with her in the PC, and that's beautiful to see. And so, Jai Baba Meheru, you lived a beautiful life. You were very fortunate in Baba, and you probably deserve being so fortunate. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, beautiful story. Thank you. And thank you for sharing the song. I don't think I've ever heard it more beautifully than right now. Thank you. Yeah, I have to agree that I didn't really get much of a vision of Meheru. I was there for 5 weeks and I worked with the Goher at the clinic and I did different things, but I never really got much time with Meheru until the day we were leaving, and those pictures are from that day. And I don't even know how it all went. It seemed like we were on the veranda, whoever we are. I was on the veranda with others, and Meheru was sitting on the bench in the garden. And I think somebody in the crowd, a group of people, invited me to go down and sit with her. I don't know that it was my idea. I think I may have been nudged forward. When I went to India, a friend said, take a camera and ask every one of the Mandali to have a picture taken with them. So I have pictures of me with most of the Mandali because of that. What a wonderful thing. But Meheru was especially deep in my heart, because when I sat down next to her on the bench, it was like something, just some huge power just moved through me, and I was moved to tears, and I was weeping, and I was trying not to, but I was, and I was trying to smile, but I was weeping, and she was so supportive. She did not say, don't weep, or, um, anything like that. She just let me have that moment of deep connection and longing, and just oneness, that deep oneness with her. And it was such a deep well that I surely thought I was drowning. Maybe that's why I was weeping, because that part was so incredible. I can't ever put it to words. I probably did a better job today than I ever have, but it was just the most astounding time, and I'm grateful. And then those photos, and I think I had one more where my face was all scrunched up as I was crying, and I didn't put that on the video, but but that was my memory of her, was just that deep weeping. Betty, Jay Baba.
Hey, Baba. I have several stories of Meheru, and all of them were here at Baba House. Meheru came up at 1993 to Oregon after California. And so just a few of those, the one that first comes to mind is we had a big hill and kind of a little forest of fir trees, big old trees. And Jim, we at the time, this place where we live now, Baba House, belonged to Jim and Jean Wilson. And they hosted some wonderful Sahavas here. And that was the year Meheru came was just stellar. It was just wonderful. So anyway, there between two of the fir trees, Jim had put up a very long, big swing that went way out over a hillside, and when Meheru was so sort of adventurous, she went right for it. She saw the swing. And Jean told me, she said, she thought, oh my goodness, I hope she doesn't jump off, because it was on a hillside. And if you jumped off that swing, you would most certainly tumble or stumble down the hillside. So sure enough, Meheru got on that swing, swung way out over the hill, and jumped, and we all gasped. And Meheru stumbled, but by golly, she didn't fall. I mean, she was coming downhill at a speed. And Jean said to her afterwards, she said, Meheru, I was asking Baba, please don't let her go on the swing. And Meheru said, that was Baba talking to you. Why didn't you tell me? So that was the swing story. Another story. Oh, such a sweet time. There was a time where I just remember it was just one of these magical moments. We were sitting on the front porch, a group of us, and it's hard to explain. It's just Mary said, well, she said, why don't tell me your Baba stories? So we went around, the group, and it was just one of those timeless moments. It was so special. Another story. We lived near an abbey, Benedictine abbey, and Meheru wanted to go to Vespers. The Vespers, this is after Sahavas was over. So we all, we took 2 or 3 cars, and we all went to Vespers. It's 5 o'clock. It's a beautiful abbey. And we all went, and then afterwards, somebody and came home, and somebody asked Meheru, so how did you like Vespers? She said, well, it was a little dry. Of course it was after Baba. Like, she had the real thing.
What is Vespers? What is Vespers?
Oh, it's like evening prayers, like 5 o'clock prayers in the
Okay.
Catholic. That's something the Catholics do. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's another story. She was quite interested in mechanical things. And Jim had a post hole digger at the farm there, and she thought that was just a great contraption. It's kind of like two shovels that dig down and dig a hole. So when they went into India, the Wilsons, he brought just the post hole, the shovel part of it. He brought it to her. And so he was he was staying at the PC at that time, and he said in the middle of the night he woke up and there was a small snake. He thought it might be a crate. He didn't know, so he used that post hole digger to kill the snake. And I'm looking at, I have a beautiful picture. I'll just show. It's of Meheru and Bao, close to the time when they might have been the only two Mandali left. Let me see. Here, oopsie. Can you make me co-host, Ruthie?
You already are. Wait, no. Sorry. I see it. I thought that was you. Hold on one sec. There you go, honey.
Okay. So this is this lovely picture of Meheru and Bao when they were, let's see, do I have the whole thing here? Yeah. That was it. It says here that Meheru passed away 2 months later. So, okay. And I have a long story that I could. This is my old newsletter from Oregon that I was just looking. There's a longer story that I can read, but Ralph, why don't you go ahead and tell your story, and then if I can, it's about Meheru and her dog Rolly that she left. So I'll pass it to you, Ralph.
That's pretty short.
Well, Ralph's kind of coming and
It
going.
would have been the early. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
we can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get the phone up first. Probably 72, something like that. Got from them. It's a real nice camera. You had to put it on the film was the film was 4 by 5 inches in size. And I took that camera in a big box, and it had its own box into Meherabad, to Baba with me to India. And I took it to Meherazad and had set myself up to take a picture of Baba's face in the tree. And the camera was there. Of course, it was a cumbersome camera. I don't know why I ever messed with it, but when you're young, that's it had the box and the lid. In the lid of the box, I had Baba's photo, stuck up there into the lid of the box. When you open the lid up, there's Baba's picture, with the box open. And Meheru came around from Baba's house, which of course is right there. And she was observing me, and I don't know, just making small talk, or maybe not saying much anything, watching. And she saw the box, the case, the camera box was down on the ground. and and Meheru suddenly commented. She said, "You've got Baba's picture down there on the ground." I said, "What?" I didn't know what she was talking about. She said, "See, look, there's Baba's picture." And I said, "Oh," and it just sort of made my jaw drop, because it was in the box, but the box was on the ground. And it, like I said, it just kind of made my mind go to churning what to do. And I was looking around, there was no place to put the box up off the ground. And he seemed quite serious and was watching me in response to what her comment. And suddenly she turned, walked away back into the house, leaving me there to deal with the issue. I don't remember, to this day, I tell you, I can't remember what I did. I don't know. I may have removed the photo and stuck it in my pocket. Can't remember. I don't know what I did. I know I did something. And that amused me. It still amuses me that I think she knew she was putting me between sort of a rock and a hard place, but she kept a poker face. However, I don't know. It may have been total sacrilege for her that Baba's, J Baba. That was my little story.
Jay Baba. Yeah, I'll tell you, those women, whew, they kept an eye out, and I think each of those lessons that were imparted to the men and the women through the mandali are, stay alive. And Ralph, thank you for that, because I keep my songbook here near me at this desk, and I lean it up against the leg of the table. But of course, Baba's face is on the outside of the book. So I have to be careful that the book doesn't fall forward or, and then I spend all my time making sure that Baba's face isn't covered up. And I've got a million Baba faces on my table. So I have to move everything. And yeah, I think it's really important for us to remember that sweet reverence that the women brought us, making us aware. Thank you, Ralph. What a great story. If you think of another, feel free.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
may, I don't know. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Michal?
Yeah, wonderful story, really wonderful. And so exemplary of the women when they are that. So I remember it reminded me of a story that someone told that when they used to clean the floor with not with the mop, but with the, how do you call it, that you broom, with a broom, Mera would not allow the broom, the working of the broom being the reflection of Baba's face. So if one of the pictures with the glass on it reflected this work of the broom on the floor, then she would not like that. So I don't know how they managed to move that photo so the broom sweeping would not be in Baba's face. So it reminded me of that story. Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you. That's a good story. Worth noting. Say Bob.
Bob. Thank you, Michal. Well, I know Betty had something that she wanted to share, but it looks like she's just stepped away for a moment. So we'll wait till she gets back. I just wonder if anybody else, I see other people are here. I don't know if you have some stories or thoughts about Meheru. And Yasmin, I saw earlier that you had said that there was no sound, but did the sound come on for you?
Yeah, it
Okay.
came on. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Awesome. Have you any memories of Meheru?
No, I didn't meet her. I came to Meherazad, I think 2 months after she dropped her body. That was my first visit to Meherazad.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we're painting a little bit of a picture for you today.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, thank you.
Sweet, such a sweet soul. You're so fortunate. Well, Michal, did you have your hand up, dear? You took it down?
I don't know, it went down twice. One thing that I always remember that always just is amazing for me. Just I tried to see that picture and I cannot imagine it. When Baba used to be in seclusion, then he didn't want any sound to be at the time. And so Meru, she was supposed to not let the birds make any noise. So how did she manage that? I don't know. You know, she had to shoo the birds. So yeah, but she had to keep them shooed away all the time at that time, and I would have seclusion for, I don't know, not 15 minutes. You know, it would be more. So that job was hers. That is amazing. Just, you know, I'm trying to visualize it, her with the broom or something in the garden, and just, you know, and she had to make the steps quick but quiet, you know, and I can just see that possible work, you know, and how she would run after them. Just this picture of this thing is so strong in my mind, you know. So that's one of the things that I always remember connected to her.
Oh, great image. Bob has certainly thought up some things for these people close to him. Keep the birds away. Miss Betty, you ready to tell?
Yes. Yeah. It's a bit long, but I don't see hands, so
Good timing.
yeah. Maybe I'll read it and also show it because it's a pretty picture of her. Okay, here we go. This is from Tavern Talk when she passed. Here she is, so beautiful. As many of you know, Meher Baba was very fond of animals and over the years had all manner of birds, horses, peacocks, cattle, and even pigs in his ashram. And like her beloved Baba, Meheru shared this love especially for dogs and particularly for our Meherazad dog, Rolly. Or Raleigh, I don't know. Rolly was born on Meherazad property 12 years ago, and as one of 8 puppies, and he was so round and roly-poly like a little black bear that Meheru named him thus. Here she is. And during the last few years of her life, she became preoccupied with his care, so much that even though he had slept outdoors for years, she created a bed in her room for him to sleep on at night. And it seemed that this bed grew in proportion and elegance daily, even during the summer. Let's see, where am I? Even during the summer heat, Meheru was so concerned that the aging Rolly be comfortable that she would cover him with an old skirt of hers, checking often to see that it was still spread over him. It appeared to those of us around her that she felt his comfort to be of more importance than her own. Of course, as you can imagine, we did not agree. Rolly was sound sensitive, which meant that whenever there was firecrackers or thunder, he would become anxious and restless and shake all over. The summer months in India marked a wedding season, and the post-wedding celebrations are punctuated by firecrackers, lots of them. So it's not unusual for Rolly to be in an anxious state when there is good cause. But 2 days before Meheru's stroke, Rolly started exhibiting anxiety without apparent reason. Rolly was always good at getting our attention, hanging on doors or poking you with his nose when he wanted to be petted. But let's see, I just wanted to show, oopsie, sorry. But now he just walked around the house whimpering. He wasn't in pain. There were no firecrackers or thunder, and there didn't seem to be anything in particular he wanted. He simply whimpered all day long, and we were helpless to understand why. I had to give him, I think this is I meaning Shelley, had to give him medication to ease his agitation. On the morning of the 19th, I was planning to consult our vet about this new and inexplicable behavior when at around 8:30 a.m., I heard Rolly and our other two dogs barking furiously. Meheru had just finished her breakfast and was on the veranda outside the kitchen washing her dishes at the sink. And when I heard the barking, I ran. I knew that something was terribly wrong. I found Meheru on the ground with her legs outstretched in front of her, propped on her left arm, sitting quietly. As I approached her, I wondered why she wasn't calling out or telling me what had happened or what hurt her. But as I got nearer, I saw the reason. Her face was asymmetrical, and her eyes, though open, were unfocused. I knew she'd had a stroke. I squatted down beside her and leaned her back against her back to support her, asking, Meheru, can you speak? Can you understand me? There was no response. I called for help, and everyone gathered around Meheru, preparing to transfer her onto a stretcher and then onto Goer's bed in the house. Meheru closed her still unfocused eyes and lost consciousness. Meheru's dear friends arrived, and we began the vigil, which we prayed would bring her back to health. Long after we had settled Meheru on Goer's bed and begun her care, I thought about Rolly's behavior the previous 2 days and realized that, of course, as is the case with dogs, he knew what was coming and was just expressing his grief. During the last 2 days of Meheru's life, Rolly laid on the ground near her bed, despite his being in the way. After Meheru passed and her body was laying in state, he slept just 15 feet away from her at the back of Mandalay Hall. Despite efforts to shoo him away, he remained there steadfastly until the 22nd, when we took Meheru to Meherabad for cremation. And that was the story. So that was Meheru and Rolly.
Wow, so touching. Wow.
Yeah.
Jai Baba Betty, thank you.
Mhm.
That was beautiful. Well, I'm wondering if anyone else has anything they'd like to bring forward.
I saw another story on that page. I could, shall I read? Oh,
Sure.
yeah, okay. Let's see. I guess I'll just go back there. Okay. It was about Jean Wilson had a, oopsie. Let me stop this for a minute. Jean had a beloved parrot, Juanita. And she said that parrot, they say that parrots are like 2-year-olds. They're very, and this parrot was very bonded to Jean. She would sit on the dinner table and eat, Jean would feed her off this parrot was, this parrot was very fond of Jean and very jealous. She didn't like Jim at all. She would fly at him and attack him. I'll just read the story. And then Meheru came. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Oh no. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, folks. I'm just scrolling through here. Rolly. There we go. Jean had a parrot named Juanita. Parrots are like 2-year-olds, says Jean. They're temperamental and they choose one person to love. Juanita adored Jean. She rode around on her shoulder, cooing love noises. She ate bites of food out of Jean's mouth. She was a one-woman bird until Meheru came to visit. Then Jean was amazed to see Juanita riding on Meheru's shoulder, cooing love noises. Juanita would sit on the dinner table by Meheru's plate, and Meheru fed her little bits. Juanita was smitten, and Jean accused Meheru of alienating Juanita's affections. But there was no help for it. Juanita loved Meheru as much as she loved Jean. Juanita didn't, however, feel the same way about Jim. I'm talking Jim and Jean Wilson. I hope some of you know them. They're an old-time Baba couple. Anyway, where that's from Myrtle Beach and then here. Let's see. Juanita was jealous of Jim, and she would fly to attack him when he came in the door. He was in constant defense mode until she was put into her cage. It didn't help either that she liked to shred the wood trim around doors and windows with her strong beak. Jim failed to see Juanita's charms. After Meheru returned to India, she sent the Wilsons some advice about the Juanita problem, since it looked like either Jim or Juanita was going to have to go. Much as Meheru loved Juanita, she suggested that Jean find Juanita another good home, which she did. So that's that story about Meheru and Juanita pair.
That's a funny one.
It's great. Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we have a moment of silence together? Jai Baba. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Karen, thank you for a wonderful bio.
Absolutely wonderful. Thanks, Ruthie.
Always.
Thanks.
Avatar, Meher Baba.
Meherabad ki
Jai.
jai. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Avatar,
Avatar Meher Baba ki
Jai.
jai.
PJ.
Hey, Baba.
Jai
Baba.
Wow. That was one.